Brothers and sisters, excuse me. I've been attacked for pointing out certain things outside the community. I and so many other brothers and sisters have said, we need allies, or we need to get people educated about the world they live in, the country they live in, the things that they do culturally. Some of our black counterparts have taken this as me siding with white people or begging white people to love us, which that's the furthest thing. And if you've been watching my videos, you would know that's not what I'm on. That's not who I am. I love my people. I love people in general, but I love mine a little bit more because we have a shared history. But as I said before, there are going to be white men and white women who are out here who are purposely misinformed, and some have come to an epiphany about the black community. And while you may not agree with everything they say and how they say it, you got to understand there are some out here who are not racist, just misinformed or don't know what to say because they're confused. They're getting conflicted information. Now, I've often said that we got to learn and love each other and trust each other before we can trust others. But that doesn't mean that we don't have to have allies in the fight. A lot of our brothers and sisters had to realize during the civil rights movement, we had allies. During slavery, we had allies. But what happened is, unfortunately, those who have hate in their heart, those who are cowards, are the ones who usually have the voice or the perception. Now, this is one of those subjects that's very tricky because I know when I did a video when that white woman was calling out those who said they were Trayvon Martin, people who would never have left comments on my channel all of a sudden flooded my emails, not my emails, but my YouTube comment section within 10 minutes. I got all kinds of crazy videos. Then I had some black people who mistakenly mistook two of the videos, as I said, as defending or trying to save white people or say I love white people. And that's not what I said. I said two wrongs don't make a right. Don't become what you hate. But I came across this video of a white man finding out something that he didn't know growing up about black history and whatnot. Now, mind you, at the beginning of this, he said he listens to Glenn Beck. But then he says he's not really listening to Glenn Beck. Then he says some things he agrees, some things he don't. And then some other things he said. And I get what he's trying to say. Maybe it didn't come across as articulate as we wanted. But understand this. There are white men and white women every day waking up to the truth of this country and this world. And we have to be very careful not to push them back in the enemy's corner. Now, granted, I understand there are going to be brothers and sisters like myself who are skeptical when somebody comes smiling and sticking their hand out. And you're right, and you should be, given our history. But until we as a people can honestly sit back and say, brothers and sisters, we got to respect and love each other, we can't keep making enemies with people who might want to befriend us or might want to go out there and fight with us. I mean, think about it. If it's places you and I can't get in, it's people in places we can't go. There's things that I can't say. Like when I see Tim Wise, and if y'all not familiar with Tim Wise, type in Tim Wise on YouTube, or you'll see him on CNN or MSNBC every now and then. For some reason, MSNBC don't like putting him on there, and I know why. And I'll talk about that in another video. But he's a white guy that says the same things that black people say. But because he's white, he can go to different universities and get on TV and say things and not be taken a certain way. See, if I got on TV and said anything, they'd say I'm a race hustler. They'd say I'm lying. They do all kinds of stuff. What they're doing out here on YouTube with me and other brothers and sisters. But I want to play this video real quick. I want y'all to understand something. You ain't got, and I tell any black person, you don't have to trust white people. There's no law saying you got to trust them considering our history. But we got to understand that there are white men and white women who are waking up to the tricks that their own white counterparts are putting out there. So I want you to hear this.
My friend Rika Drew sent me one of Glenn Beck's shows, the Founding Fathers things he does, and I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit just because I agree with some of what Glenn Beck says, but he's a little bit too much for me. But I started to watch it anyway, and it was about how black people in our history that had a lot to do with the way the founding of this country and what went on during the founding of this country have basically been eliminated from history books. And it did two things. It made me very emotional. Just because so many black people, including black people I know, only think that great things started with Martin Luther King or, I don't know.
And whites do too.
If anything in here comes across as insulting, it is not intended to be. This was just fascinating to me, not just because of the fact that these, like Frederick Douglass and other people, who of course their names escape me at this point, I'll put links up to this video, so if you want the information and the people's names, you can get it there. But just how important they were to the founding of this country and how easily it was to just destroy them. Or not destroy them, but make them irrelevant. It's sad. It's sad because that means there are many groups of black people that grew up only thinking their only history in this country was as being slaves. I'm sorry I'm looking all over the place, but I'm trying to gather my thoughts because this really got to me. But that's what most black people have been taught, is that up until they were freed as slaves, up until Martin Luther King and the fight for civil rights, that's when the fight for civil rights started, and that's really where a lot of black history started. I mean, I know people know about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, but the stuff as far as that was all stuff with black people fighting against the government, or fighting against slavery is what I mean, fighting against the government. Whereas these were stories about black people actually wanting to be Americans and being proud of being Americans. And that's not something I ever remember hearing. And I can understand how a group of people, and I'll say it one more time, I don't mean this in any way to be insulting, but I can understand how if I was a member of a group of people, that the only thing I was ever taught as far as my relation to America was that I was a slave and I had to fight just to be treated like a human being, I wouldn't like that country very much. But if I knew that there were black people that after they were freed wanted to be Americans and were proud to be Americans and worked for this country and worked to do great things in this country, I think that would change some people's feelings. Now, it wouldn't change the perception of the way people are treating them now, and that's a whole other video. But it's had an impact on me, and I'm a white person. Let me put it that way. I'm a white dude, in case you hadn't noticed. And just hearing that, Abraham Lincoln was meeting with some of these black people and asking their opinions. I never heard that. The only thing I knew about Abraham Lincoln having to do with black people for the most part was owning slaves and freeing slaves. That is on a totally different level than actually talking to black people on an equal level and asking for help. That was just fascinating information to me. And it makes me understand why, if someone intentionally took this out of history books, if they did that, why they would, because it makes black people feel separate from this country. And maybe that's what they wanted. When
still, he's conflicted to a degree.
Not feel like part of the country, and to make white people not feel like black people were part of the country. That they were just this group of people that were slaves that got freed and just had to be integrated, instead of a group of people that really wanted to be Americans. Like I said, this obviously got to me. It got to me and made me very emotional. But I'm trying to keep, you see, I just say the word emotional, and emotions come up. Because it's just messed up. And I feel bad not having known this. It's important. I'm trying to be a better person, as everyone knows, but I also want to be knowledgeable about my own history and about my own country and why I love my country and why I like to be an American. And part of that is that a lot of the people that were brought here as slaves when they were freed decided, or were the descendants of people that were brought here as slaves, whatever, that decided they wanted to be Americans. That there were actually white people back in the day that worked with them. It wasn't just slaves versus white people, or former slaves versus white people, which is the way I feel history was presented to me when I was growing up. I think that's all I need to say. Once again, I will put up links to these videos. Anyone that watches this and can't stand Glenn Beck, I don't really like him a lot either. But trust me, the information, and maybe you already maybe you're more educated than me and you knew everything he's going to say. Fine. I didn't know it. and it was fascinating. So once again, this is the third ending. I feel like this is like Lord of the Rings or something. I'm going to put up links, and that's that. Great videos, great information, and great to know that black people played a more important part to American history than just what I learned in school.
Now, I understand what the guy was trying to say. And this is what I'm talking about. There are some white people out there who mean well, but they have foot and mouth syndrome. And he was trying to say that all his life he was taught lies, like most people. Now he kept saying that blacks haven't been taught, or they think of themselves in a certain way. Some of our people do, but a large majority of white people think that way as well. Those of us who do know our history, understand our place in history, we're not the ones that people want to see talking to each other or questioning what curriculum is going in our school. I mean, you've heard me say in videos, why aren't we questioning what our children are being taught? Why aren't we wasting the time on Sunday mornings when you got a congregation together instead of just talking about the Bible? Talk about some historic facts. Put some knowledge out there. Develop programs that can get our people educated. We're not using the tools that we do have, brothers and sisters. But it's fascinating when a white man, especially a white man, have an aha moment or that wake up moment where he goes, man, everything I've been told, everything I've known, it's been a lie or been distorted. And some people can't take that. Oh my gosh, I've been lied to, but it's benefiting me for so long, I can't say anything, so I'm just going to go along and get along, or just keep pushing this mindset. And that's what's going on for so many years. A certain group of people in this country know damn well that all of us were not slaves, or that we was here before the quote-unquote white man was here, or that we can claim this more of our country than anybody else can. That we were the original kings and queens, doctors, philosophers, scientists, poets, musicians. We were a lot of things, but because men and women had hate in their heart, jealousy in their heart, have done everything in their power the last 500 more years to distort these visions, or these dreams, or these facts. I'm telling you right now, brothers and sisters, there are a lot of white people out here who are waking up to it, albeit slowly. We can't attack every last one of them as the enemy. Now, as I said before, I understand why some of us, or a large number of us, me included, have a hard time trusting them. Because they have not done anything to make me go, oh man, I forgive you, or I want to give you benefit of the doubt. But sometimes you have to. See, you got to learn something. In order to get ahead, you got to be able to cultivate allies or supporters. That doesn't mean you open your door and let them come in your home and get comfortable. You let them come in for just a minute. You talk to them, okay, and you get what you need to get. I know they may sound cold. I know they may sound calculating, but that's how I feel. That's how some of us feel. And any white person watching this is not a slam or dig against you, but let's be honest. Until you can check your white counterparts on their hatred and their arrogance, black people are always going to be suspicious. And I'm not going to tell a brother and sister not to. But at the same time, brothers and sisters, we got to find balance. You got to know when to cut it off and when to cut it on. You got to know when to have it on just right. That's just my take. What's yours?